It's my foundation. It's my faith. It's my work ethic. It's my drive. It's everything that I've tried to build for myself that has made me who I am.
I'll do what it takes to make you believe.
Okay, so I want to start out by saying, like, we decided to do this podcast because I had a question someone asked me about our marriage. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool to see, like, what people think, you know, especially since you have, like, a disease and people were interested on, like, in what I feel and what we do as a couple to get through that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and people probably have a lot of assumptions of what it's like and what it's not like. People probably have no idea, so...
Okay, so the first one I got that made me want to, like, talk to you about this stuff is, for someone like you, like, marry, or, wait, no, that's for me.
Bueller.
I know, I just did it delete?
Oh, gosh. Come on. You're killing me, Smalls.
So basically the question was, how do I deal with what you have? You know, and it's something we talked about before, so it's not, the answer is not going to shock you.
Yeah.
Because you know how I feel.
Many times I have broken down asking you, are you sure you want to deal with all of this whenever I'm going through something? And I respect your answer because it's honest. And it better be true.
No, it's 100% true because I just don't see the reason why, you know, someone can just walk away from that. That's selfish. You know what I mean? I do believe there's times you can be selfish, but in that like in that kind of stuff, like it's just not, it's not something to be selfish with because you also didn't ask for this.
No, I did not.
You know?
Because I wouldn't wish it on anyone either.
Right. And I've been asked, oh man, that sucks. Like, how do you deal with it? And I'm like, why do you care about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does she deal? You know, she didn't ask for this. You know, when we started dating, you weren't going through this stuff.
No, I wasn't.
You know what I mean? Which I think was a blessing because who knows what would have, you know?
Yeah. I've always thought it would have spooked you if I was going through this early on.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
I don't know if it would have or not because right. I feel like our relationship has always been really strong. I just think this brought us even closer together in a way that we weren't expecting and we didn't necessarily want. But, I mean, here's the thing. I've had epilepsy since I was born. Mm-hmm. I didn't show symptoms until I was 18. I stopped taking medication when I was 20. And I went 3 or 4 years without anything going wrong. And then suddenly I was, you know, spilling coffee on myself at work. And I dropped a mug of coffee on my lap in front of you and Paula, my sister. And it just kind of, you know, you had to see it. But you didn't go with me to my first doctor's appointment. You weren't there that very first trip to UPenn where Penny, you know, she drove me up there first thing in the morning and I was having seizures all over the place. I was stopping at trash cans so I could drool in them and throw away tissues and I was just overwhelmed and my doctor got to see it right away. It was the first time I met her and she got to see me have seizures and the first thing she said was, "This is textbook epilepsy. You have epilepsy." And those 3 words changed my life. Yeah. Like, I will tell people that day in and day out. People get sick of me talking about it. I get sick of having it. That's just a fact.
Right, definitely.
And I think that you kind of expected it when my mom kind of, you know, talked about the seizure thing and Paula talked about it. And it was talked about in my house, you know, when we made the appointment for me to go to UPenn to see a neurologist. You know, she had some issues in the past and they were seizures, but they diagnosed me with a seizure disorder, but they weren't really calling them seizures back then. They didn't know what they were. And this time it was, you know, this was real and this was changing. And then it was a matter of, okay, like, let's play the medicine game and, like, let's figure out what works. Then you find out, you know, you started coming to appointments and you started learning more and more and more. And then here you come to find out that I am drug resistant. Drugs won't work for me. So we keep going and we keep going, and you keep going to all these appointments with me and getting up in the morning and driving me, because all of a sudden my seizures change. And suddenly I'm on a floor and I wake up and I'm going into an ambulance. And it was terrifying back then. And it happened the year we were getting married. So it was stressful. The first one, I didn't let it keep me down. I was like, whatever. I didn't even go to the hospital. I was like, I wasn't a seizure. I don't believe you.
Right.
The second one, well, the hospital definitely confirmed that. And then, you know, we ended up, I had a good rest of the year. We got married, we went on a honeymoon, and then I had another one where I ended up in an ambulance. And that's when things really changed for me. And you know that because that was when they finally took my driver's license away. That was when I went into the deepest depression I've ever been in my life. That's when I had so much anxiety I never left the couch. And you were the one that had to come home to me every day. You were the one that had to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were the one that had to comfort me and make sure I was okay. I wasn't in the comfort of mom and dad's house, you know, like I was there while you worked, and then that was it. And it was hard, you know, it sucked, but you didn't sign, and I say this all the time, you didn't sign up for this, but I didn't either.
Right.
So if you were to leave me, I'd probably, if you left me over this, I've always said, I would hate you. But I wouldn't blame you, because it's hard enough for me. I can't imagine being the person sitting next to me taking care of me. And I don't know how I would take care of you. If you had to go through this, I'd be terrified, but I would never be able to leave you. I just know that. So I feel like that's how strong our relationship is, where I feel like neither of us would ever make that choice. So I haven't really questioned it, but I knew that if it came to that, I would hate you, but I would be okay with you. It would suck.
And the thing with me is, like, the fact that someone can even wonder that question, like how do I deal with it? Or how do, or, I mean, no one's never asked me this, but, like, how do I, like, stay with you through this kind of stuff? You know what I mean? I think I've been prepared for something like this my whole life. You know, I was raised by parents who, like, taught me to do everything myself. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't do a lot for, I mean, I'm not going to say it like that. That sounds bad.
I know what you mean.
You know
Your
what
parents
I mean?
did a lot for you.
Yeah, they did a lot for me, but they don't do things
for you.
For me.
I know what you're trying to say.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're trying to say.
If I can't do something, they're like, nope, figure it out.
You can learn how to do it
They're
yourself.
not just going to say, oh, let me do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was doing my own laundry at a very young age. I was cooking my own food at a very young age. All that kind of stuff. It was always fend for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And then I learned how to take care of myself. So then that way, no one had to take care of anyone for me. And my mom is someone who is the most selfless person
ever
I can never think of. You know what I mean?
Constantly doing for other people.
That's all she does.
That's all she wants to do. It makes her happy.
It really does, you know, and that's really all she does. And you know, and I think I have a lot of that.
You do.
Because I want to do a lot for myself, but then I also know but doing things for myself, I want to get to a place where I can do more for other people.
Yeah.
You know,
not just for us, but for everyone.
Like, I had a time where a dude hit me up that I haven't talked to in a long time, and then all of a sudden he was telling me this story about how he just got fired and his wife got fired and they just got a new apartment and his rent was due and he couldn't afford it because he hasn't started his new job yet and all this other stuff. And in my head I was like, yo, I want to pay this month's rent so at least he can get through. I even looked at our account and I was like, yo, is there any way I can do that?
I don't know that I would have been okay with that, but
you know, but like I even And I never in a million years thought that thought would be in my mind.
No,
to even do that. That was the first thing I thought of when he told me that. I looked in my bank account. I was like, shit. I was like, we need every cent.
We do.
So I was like, man. I was like, man, I really wish I could do something, you know? And I feel bad because I couldn't. And I've always wanted to be in a place in my life where I can do that for other people.
With you.
You know what I mean? But getting it back to you is just like, I was never scared. I'm still not scared.
Yeah.
You know, like even going through all those things, like I just know I have a comfort in my heart that everything's going to be okay no matter what we go through. Yeah, it's hard, but it's building our relationship, it's building our marriage, and, you know, it's bringing us closer together because we're going through these things together.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people don't get.
Sometimes I like to think about what our life would be like if I didn't have this. Like, what would we do, you know, every other Friday and like for all those months of appointments, and what would I do if I didn't take 17 pills a day? And, you know, would we be back at our old days with your first job at any time? And being out, and our date night would be the grocery store and lifting. Like, would that be our thing? Like, I just always like to think back, but I know you always tell me, don't think about the person you were, think about the person you are and who you want to become. Yeah. So I try really hard to do that, but I find myself thinking about it a lot. Like, what would our life be like if I didn't have this? But if I didn't have this, I wouldn't be me. Like, there's so much that I've gained from this. There's so much that you've gained from this. Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, your compassion has grown tremendously. Not that you weren't compassionate. I'm just saying you have this ability to, I don't know, just comfort me and make me feel safe no matter what the situation. And to be able to pick me up out of my office chair and lay me in bed so that I can have a seizure and just hold me and pray over me and talk to me. I don't have anyone else in my life that could physically or emotionally do that. My parents would be afraid. Yeah. And they couldn't lift me. Yeah. And my sisters would try and pick me up, but I've seen Penny in action, and she just sat there. She didn't know what to do. She was, and I ended up giving her an anxiety attack, basically. She had PTSD. She suffered from PTSD from witnessing me have a seizure. It was that bad for her. And I would never want that for anybody else. And you don't, at least you don't vocalize it. You don't show that fear that other people do when people have seizures. No,
and I think that's scary. Yeah, because it's not about me in that time. Yeah, and that's what people have to understand is you got to put my fear aside and everything. Like, I won't go into too much detail because I know you hate me talking about it. But we had a big fight, the biggest fight we've probably ever had, and you went into a seizure, and I put everything aside, all that like thing, you know, stuff I was mad at and all that kind of stuff. Like, none of that mattered anymore. It was about getting you to come back and be in that right place. You know what I mean? And that's what people have to understand when you care for someone and you're in a marriage and, you know, if you can't do that for someone, you shouldn't be married. Yeah. You shouldn't be. I was looking at an article yesterday. This woman, it was an old article, but she divorced her husband. They've been married 22 years. She divorced her husband because he voted for Trump.
Oh, dear God.
I was like, bro, if you haven't talked politics for that 22 years, what kind of marriage are you? If you didn't know what he was going to do, are you serious?
You and I talk about, well, everything for the most part. Right. Except, you know, right now, until I can get my anxiety really under control these days, you know not to tell me things. Even though I hate it after the fact, you know not to tell me things that will worry me or scare me because you know that I take on that burden for myself and you're trying to get me away from that. And I'm trying to work on that internally. I really am. So I appreciate that. But so many older people who've been married for, I've been married for 25 years and you'll see, wait till you have kids, you'll see. The stuff that I've been through just by myself and then with you, our first year of marriage, like what honeymoon phase were they talking about?
I'm still waiting for it.
I mean, we live it as far as like how we feel for each other.
Yeah.
But the struggle did not just vanish. Like,
Right.
we weren't those people who were just like, oh, first big house and first healthy little puppy. No, we have handicap ramp home and we have the puppy that almost died in a week. And then we had seizures and doctor's appointments and 2 hospital stays and just countless everything and all our money going to medication and things like that. And it's just like, good Lord, could we get a break for like a second? But people say all the time that they think they know better because they've been married longer. And I disagree.
No, I disagree with that too. Yeah.
I disagree with that statement 100%. I think it depends on the person. Some people, it'll take them 22 to 25 years to really know a person. For me, we're learning stuff about each other all the time, but generally we both tell the same stories over and over, so really we're not learning anything new. And also, there's something to be said about a relationship that goes through the stuff that we've been through. It's a lot different. It's a lot harder. I don't want to say that everybody doesn't go through stuff, because they do. Everybody does.
Right, yeah.
But
it's how you get through it, though.
Yes, it's how you're there for each other.
Right, the tests that we've had to endure and go through together. You know, we never tried to deal with it on our own. We always were together to deal with it. You know what I mean?
And I've told you this before, like, when we started dating, if I was going through this and I told you and you weren't scared, I still would not want you taking me to my doctor's appointments and stuff.
Yeah.
I would be like, I want to go by myself, because back then I could drive, and like,
Right.
I was so independent when I met you. Like, I just didn't want anyone to help me with anything. And now I have this fear that I'm like too dependent, and I'm trying to work on it, but I've gotten used to the comfort of someone being there to take care of me, and I sometimes take advantage of it. But other times I'm like, no, Heather, you have to get up and do these things, because he's at work, and, you know, even though I just finished working all day, technically, like, I'm home, so I should be doing this for you. Like, I don't know, there's just so much that I want to do for you because you do so much for me. And some of it comes out of guilt, because I do feel like there are times when I can't argue with you or ask you for anything, because I feel like what you do for me, you're already past that limit of me asking for favors.
Right.
And I feel guilty, and I know that's probably not healthy in the long run, because I can't be afraid to fight with you just because you do things for me, because you willingly do them. I can't be afraid.
And I do it a little bit different, because I think about, okay, I choose to not do everything for you.
Yeah.
Because I want you to figure out how to do it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the way I grew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You grew up different.
Well.
And still different.
Hey, listen, my parents are much older. I mean, my parents are grandparents.
Right. Yeah.
12 times over.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, my parents are old enough to be your parents' parents.
Right.
At that point in their lives, they were done raising kids. There, it was just, oops. And then it was like, oh, well, we're just going to take care of everything, because that's what they do. Mm-hmm. And now they're at that age. If they were at their working age, if you met them then, they would not be doing all of this for me.
Right.
Or they would
were
be
retired when you were born, right?
They weren't retired yet.
Oh,
they were working. They were
Okay.
working shift work and all that. So when I grew up, it was not, you know, so, I mean, it wasn't always a home cooked meal at night and stuff like that. You know, I did have cereal for dinner every now and then, or I would go across the street to Laura's and eat dinner. I had breakfast down the street. With Leanna, I would have, I got the bus with her. Like, Penny would take me to school in the morning. Penny hated getting me up in the morning. Penny did my hair. She got me dressed. Things like that. My parents weren't always there. My dad retired, then my mom, and I was relatively younger. I mean, I would say middle school. I can't remember, honestly. I was like probably middle school, early high school at the latest when they both were retired. And then all of a sudden, they had nothing to do. Yeah. So then it's like, okay, well, we're just going to do everything because that's how they were. So when Penny moved out, they did everything. Look at all of my siblings. My parents are the go-to people for, can you help me with this? Tom, can you come look at this? Like, that's what my dad has become because it's what he loves to do. And I don't deny him that. And I hate feeling like I'm not independent because I ask him all the time, can I do it? And he's very much let me just do it instead. Right. And my mom's so afraid that I'm going to have a seizure doing anything that she's like, you know what, maybe, probably not. We should just go for a walk. And it's like two sides of, I can't win either way at that point. So I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I'll be all right. And then I come home to you and it's very different. And it's just like, I don't know. But I still fall in that guilt phase of just being afraid to ask you or afraid to fight with you about things. Because I'm like, I have no right to ask him to do more than he already does. And sometimes I have to get in my own head and be like, no, you're not asking him. He wants to do those things for you. Stop thinking that you're forcing it. Right. Because sometimes I do think that. Yeah. And
I mean, yeah, I'll do things for you. But, like, even when we're in the store, like, I'll leave. I'm not going to stay by your side every 2 seconds. I'll let you go down an aisle and all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
like,
and I love that sometimes.
Yeah, because that's still, that
Other
allows
times
you
I
to
lose
feel
the
free.
cart.
Right. I mean, sometimes you get scared and stuff like that, and that's fine, but I still feel like you still need that freedom to be like, oh, like, he's okay with me being alone then, it gives you that confidence.
It really does.
Yeah. Because I got it from watching a documentary or something about the service dogs, and one girl had epilepsy, and her family did not leave her side. I was like, that looks awful.
Yep.
In the grocery store, like, there's always someone next to her, like, walking, you know what I mean? I was like, no one gave her a breath.
Yep.
And I was like, I know it's scary, but you gotta, just,
and
like...
it's very hard because it's a double-edged sword because I am afraid. And sometimes I do get that twinge of panic when I don't see you in the grocery store. I'm like, uh-oh. And sometimes that twinge of panic is just enough to bring on a seizure that makes me drop my yogurt everywhere. And then not be able to speak to anyone to ask for help is, I think, my biggest thing. Is if my seizures were a little bit different and I could explain to someone what's happening, like, oh, I'm about to have a seizure, I think I wouldn't be as scared. But because mine takes away my speech, it's a lot scarier for me because I'm like, oh my God, I'm all alone. And if something happens and people are asking, can they help? And I just stand there like, they're not going to know what to do. And I can't tell them I'm having a seizure. And most people don't know sign language. So I can't sign to them. So it's like, I kind of wish I had a service dog where I would feel like, you know what? If a seizure's coming, my dog's going to alert me. I'm going to be okay. Maybe other people would feel more okay with me doing things. I mean, it's like my dad. I love him so much. And he's the only one that can take me to the gym at night. He's the only one. And he will watch me from one machine. And God, I got so excited one night. He let me go to another machine by myself. And I was so excited. And I only got to be there for like one set. And then he was right by my side. Because he thought I was afraid. And I think he was a little afraid. And I don't blame my family for being that way. Not all of them are. But, a lot of people are. And
I don't blame them either.
I crave independence. But I hate being home alone. Yeah. I do hate it because I get bored and I sleep, or I get bored and it's just me and the dog. Yeah. And there's just nothing to do. That's all. It's not about... I used to be genuinely afraid. Now it's more of like...
boredom.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
Like, I miss people or getting in my car and going somewhere.
All right, well, let's switch gears a little bit. So there was an assumption about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the assumption is that and we can hear what your thoughts are on it. That I'm hard on you about your weight because I'm into fitness.
Oh, no.
Is that the case?
No.
Am I hard on you?
No. There are times I wish you were. It's no lie. It's no secret that I've gained a lot of weight in the last, I don't know how long, and I've had trouble losing it. I mean, it is what it is right now. I'm trying. I hate cardio. Cardio is the answer for a lot of things, and I'm just not, I'm not always faithful to my coach's plans, but I see a coach for a reason. I mean, I want her to help me. I don't want you to write me a meal plan because you refuse to, and also I'd be eating chicken and rice every day. And that's...
I disagree with that.
You don't want to write me a meal plan.
Yes, because I tried. And you are so picky that it annoyed the hell out of me. And I was like, I just can't do it because it's hard for me because I have to turn on my trainer mode, which is a lot harder than husband mode.
Because husband mode wants to let me have something good to eat on a Friday night while we're watching a movie because you want it.
Right.
And, trainer mode wants me to lose however many pounds.
Oh, I never said that either.
But, well, if you were a trainer and you were just looking at me, you would be like, okay, that's unhealthy. She's got to drop this much weight. It's just how it is. Right.
And then also the reason you're different is, you could be more diligent on your meal plan. But also when you try and work out, you can only do it for so long.
I know.
Until you start seizing. So that kind of limits you.
It limits me the most. And cardio is one of the biggest things that gets me with seizures. And it sucks. And
it makes you need to force more focus onto your diet,
which is the hardest part for me.
Yes,
because I look back at how I used to be, and I used to be like, I limited, calorie intake. That was pretty much it. And I worked out all the time, and I was fine. And I was just chilling, and I dropped a ton of weight, and then I was chilling. It was fine. Then I was just doing nothing but building muscle, and everything was great. But then this stuff comes in, medication comes into play, and suddenly I'm gaining weight that I can't lose. I mean, I think for a straight year, even with trying and working out and joining the gym again and doing all of that, I still weighed within 2 pounds of the same weight for an entire year with that clinical trial. The last time they weighed me, they're like, yep, still the same. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Nothing worked. It just, and right now it's just all about, I guess water and stick to that diet and do everything. I don't want to call it a diet because it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. That's what it is. It's just, sticking to my meal plan and, eating my meals when I'm supposed to. But it is hard because you don't put pressure on me, but I feel pressure because not only do we own a supplement business, not that I'm allowed to take any of the supplements because of everything I take, but you work out every morning and I can hear it. I hear the dumbbells and I hear the bar banging against the, I hear everything. I hear the grunts and the groans and the, because, I just deadlifted 5 something, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm like, that's really cool. I just woke up. That's just, I don't know, I feel like I pressure myself. You've always said, which drives me nuts and I know it's true, but when I'm having a hard time, instead of being I know, it's hard, blah, blah, you say, just gotta be consistent. And then you'll walk away. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to be consistent. I just have a hard time with that. But you've never No, you've never been hard on me about my weight or anything. I mean, if anything, I kind of wish you were harder on me, because you tell me that you love the way I look no matter what, and that's great, but you know it's not healthy. So, I mean, while some numbers say it's healthy, it's just not.
Well, my biggest thing is, and I tell you, I want you to be happy.
Yes, you do say that a lot.
And I know you're not happy the way you are.
No, I'm not. Not
You know
even
what I mean?
close.
So I want you to do whatever for yourself you have to do to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Me being into fitness and stuff, one, I'm not even that much into it.
Yeah.
Like I was.
No.
You know, yeah, I work out, but that's just for my mental, state of being. Just because, like, if I don't work out, like, I don't feel the same the rest of the day.
Yeah, I actually got a question from someone if I felt self-conscious about my body because of you being into fitness and stuff. And, I really do, because I look at you and I tell you all the time, and you're like, I am not that good looking. In my head, you're the hottest guy I've ever seen.
But you've always been like that, though.
Yes.
Even from the beginning.
Even when you were small, but I was small then too.
Even from the beginning, like when I was bodybuilding, like...
But that was
7 years ago.
That was key. Bodybuilding, walking into a competition and seeing every little girl in their teeny tiny bikini. Oh my God. It was the most terrifying and daunting experience, because all I wanted to do was crawl into a hole. I would just put on makeup and try and do my hair and try and have something cute on that didn't make me have any fat whatsoever showing, so that I would flex just a little bit, because I knew I had muscle back then, if anyone walked by, so that I looked like I belonged in that situation.
I did too.
No, you didn't have to. You were so dried out, it was just sticking out.
Yeah, but you got to think too.
I was terrified. Oh my God, I hated bikini girls. And no offense to any of them now, because I love, I have friends that do it and it's fine. I understand the competition world now. It's different. I get it. But back then, it was just, oh my God, they're competing on stage and they're competing backstage. Oh, hell no. Like I was so not about that life. Mm-hmm. And I have I'll look at my time hop and stuff, my memories. I would actually talk about that. I tweeted about it. I can't tell you how many times, oh, I hate bikini girls. This is so unfair, blah, blah, blah. I think I'm going to go throw up my lunch now. Stuff like that. I genuinely needed to look better because you were in that world.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to, or I was not going to be okay. And, that's pretty much the most self-conscious I've ever been. Now, I think I've gotten a comfort. You don't really, you're still into fitness. I mean, no one can deny those arms. I'm sorry. They just can't. And if you flex, if I flex, flap falls down. It falls the opposite. In cartoons, you're opposite. You're like, and then here I go. It's just like that. Those sounds exactly. So, I do feel self-conscious just because you're into it. And it's not that I'm not into it. I love lifting. I absolutely love it. I was lifting before I even knew you. People think that you started me on it, and that's not the case at all. I just can't for as much as I used to. I have to do so little. And I think that the more that I get back into it and the more cardio I do and stuff, I might be able to go longer without having a seizure, in which case I'm going to feel more confident and I'll be able to just keep going and keep doing more. Picking up a 5-pound dumbbell after surgery was defeating. It was great. And I'd see you lifting this and I'd be like it just hurt me, because I used to be able to, we would just take turns deadlifting. You know what I mean? I wouldn't lift as much as you, but it would be you would take a plate off here and there, and then I would just go. And, that's where now the self-consciousness comes in, where I'm I don't belong with that. But I know that I do. I know that my heart and my soul does, because my body doesn't feel like it belongs with you. So my brain gets in the way.
But this is where, like, I've talked about it before, how self-conscious I've always been about my body.
I know.
You know what I mean? And even though you think I shouldn't be or whatever, like, ever since I was a little kid, I've always been self-conscious about my body. You know what I mean? Yeah, I felt a little better bodybuilding, you know, because I had a nice body, but nice bodies don't win competitions.
No, they
You know
don't.
what I mean? So it was a lot different competing, and I loved it and I wanted to get better at it. But then, you know, somewhere along the line, I just fell into a lot more stuff that I love to do, and I didn't want to do just that anymore. You know, I got back into photography and video, and
you're really good at it. I can't even.
and
turn the
I try
camera
hard.
on.
You know, got into podcasting. I want to get into music. I want to, like, there's tons of stuff that I want to do.
And I love that about you. That's my favorite thing about you.
And fitness is, it was the beginning of everything. It's what opened my eyes to, you know, trying things. And because I was a kid that didn't care about anything, you know, and being part of your life, like, taught me to care more. You know what I mean? Because you have to, yeah. Because, you know, like, you have to be in that situation, and it's taught me a lot about myself. And you know, you tell me that what is it, like if you didn't have me, something, or I do everything for you or something like that, and I was like, well, you don't know what you do for me.
I don't. And sometimes,
you know what I mean?
I don't want this to sound bad. Sometimes you just don't say it, and I just don't. So that's why I don't know. I don't see it. You don't verbalize it because that's how you are.
Right.
So it's like, it's not a bad thing. It's just, I don't realize that I'm doing anything for you.
Yeah.
And in my head, like, I mean, it gets in my head a lot because I worry that people like our families or our friends or anyone else, whatever, you know, people you work with, not that, you know, it matters, but any of these people would get in your head and be like, you know, this has become too much for you. Like, you should be, you know, you want to do all this stuff, you know, you need to, you know, she could be holding you back because she has all this and her expenses and, you know, surgery and that's things
the thing,
like that.
Though. That's the thing that has made me the person I've become, is like, I don't care what anyone says. You could have someone yelling in my ear day in, day out that what I'm doing is not working and you're holding me back and all this kind of shit. I would never, like, I do what I want. You know what I mean? And I tell you that all the time. You know, I just do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds selfish, but that's how I get through my life. That's what I love about my life, is like, I'm just like, which is why I do a lot of things myself. You know, I don't have those people around me to help me get through things a lot of times. You know, I like to figure things out and how to do it myself. And even with video and photography, sometimes I'll have my dad, who's a professional, text me and say, oh, how'd you do that? I don't know. You know, I just saw it and I figured out how to do it. Like, you know, it's just little things like that that I like doing, and I like figuring out things for myself. And, you know, you're one of the things I love to do. Not like that, but...
Let's be honest.
But, like, you're one of the things I want in my life, and it's just like I do what I want. No one can tell me no different. You know what I mean?
No one.
So,
I would never in a million years want to be without you. And it's not just because of everything you do for me. It's because of the person that you are. Like, no one in their right mind, if they met you and they saw you with your RBF problem, would realize that you are also this compassionate and caring and loving and funny and fun person that you are.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever believe
right?
how much fun you and I have with little stuff, or how much we think alike. Like, we literally have the same comebacks for things, and like our thoughts go to the same place at the same time, and we'll just laugh. Like, that's what being married to your best friend is all about. And it does, like, it did scare me for a while, like people would get into your head, but then, you know, I know that you do what you want, and I appreciate that, because it is, it's a lot. Your task being my husband, that's one of the hardest things for me, is sometimes I just want to feel like your wife.
Yeah.
And not like your patient that you had to chauffeur around, and you had to do this for, and you had to do that for. Like, I don't want to feel like a patient. I want to feel like your wife.
Yeah.
Like, when we go out somewhere, I don't want it to be that I forced you to go out because I can't drive myself there. I want it to be because you want to be with me. And that's, it's really hard not having a driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who has any idea what that's like could tell you, like, don't take it for granted, because I will stare at our car in that driveway on a weekend when you're out mowing the lawn or something, and I will just stare at it and be like, God, I want to go to the mall. And I can't go. I can't just up and go. Or I want to run to Starbucks. Nope. I need to ask for a ride. I want to go to Wawa. Nope, can't do that. And that loss of independence has been the hardest thing for me, and you've had to take on all of it. It's like, if I want to do something, Ben's got to want to do it too. Because otherwise...
But how many times have you said, like, you need to go somewhere or something like that, and I've said no?
Well, there's been a few, but I'm not going to bring it all up. There's been a few times.
It was just that last time because we have to wear a mask out.
Well,
I don't want to do
the
that.
mask thing, no, I understand. But there's been a couple of times where it's like, I really don't feel like going anywhere. And I'm like, okay. And I try and hide my disappointment, but then I'll go cry because I'm like, God, I just want to drive myself there. God, I would love to just go.
Right.
You know, and people stopped inviting us to parties and things like that, because it's like, well, we're inviting Heather, but if she can't get a ride because Ben's at work or whatever, it's like I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I have
but you
very
gotta
few
remember too,
true
like,
friends left.
I mean, you got to remember too, like, it's all right now.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, we're just in that season. And
it feels like the longest season of my life. This is like baseball season.
Well, you know what's funny is, like, we're going to be able to look back at this. I don't know when, but we'll look back at this podcast and be like, yo, remember when we talked about that? You know, and now, like, you're out driving and you're out doing stuff.
I know.
You know, there's going to be that time.
I hope so.
There's going to be that time.
I
guarantee it. I guarantee it.
It's been... it's just hard. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what life is. If you're not going through anything hard, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
True.
People that have millions and billions of dollars go through hard things, even though they have money.
I know that.
You know? And they're unhappy, and they're still... You know what I mean?
Yeah. We don't need everything. I honestly believe that we don't need... I see a lot of people that get, you know, things. And while I still want my couch, I don't need things to make me happy.
Right.
I need time with you, so vacations are always important to me.
Yeah, and that's another thing about us. We both love Disney. Well, you got me into that.
I got you into Disney, and I am more than happy to share every Saturday morning listening to Disney music and every Saturday night watching a Disney movie. I don't care how boring we are.
Yeah.
We don't need to go to a bar and drink. We don't have a group of friends to like go hang out with or whatever. I mean, in the summer we'll probably spend time at the pool, you know, either at grandmom's or my mom's, like whatever, but like we don't need all that. We don't have all that surrounding us. We just have each other, and I think it just makes us closer.
You know what's funny too is, like, that's one of the things that kind of was about to push me away from you in the beginning.
Because I was so social.
Because you were like to go out, and I was like, oh, I hate this. This is my nightmare. And finally, like,
I guess
sometime
you changed your life.
Yeah, you just like started being around, you wanted to be around me more, so you didn't care about those other people. But of course, those other people, you know, drift off.
But you know, it's kind of good though is I still care about those other people.
Right.
And I still love them a lot. And
they play a part in your life.
A lot of
always,
them are still in my life. And a lot of them that aren't will still text me, reach out to me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And they always, I mean, I kind of wish they didn't have to ask how I'm feeling or how I'm doing. I kind of miss just having like a normal conversation, but
yeah. Well, you can always make it that. You don't have
I
to.
always change the subject. I always do, because I'm like, I want to talk about you and your life, or like, what's the new gossip? Like, tell me something. Like, I don't know, like anything. Just let's not talk about me. I'm fine.
Right.
And like when people ask me, how you doing? Every time someone sees me, how you feeling? With that sad face, I'm like, every day's a day. And I just smile, or I say fine. Because, like, I can't, what am I supposed to say? Oh, I had about 6 seizures this morning, but took a nap, feeling all right. We're good now. Like,
just say good AF.
I know, I'm good AF. I don't know, it's been nice just realizing, like, that you can be okay, especially during quarantine. I'm sure a lot of people are learning. They either hate their spouse or they love them.
Yeah.
I think that's, you know, so many people were like, oh, there's going to be a lot of babies or a lot of divorces. And I'm like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, neither for us. Yeah. And it didn't just bring us closer, because honestly, life didn't change for us. You still have to work. I'm still working during the day. And then at night, like, you're home, we watch our shows, we go to bed. Like, it's nothing different.
Right.
But I think even if you were home the whole time, I don't think it would bother us, because I just think that we would find new things to do or talk about or whatever, or maybe I'd work out more because you'd be here to supervise me, you know what I mean? I don't know. But I will say that the one thing that I've become increasingly aware of in quarantine, because I'm on video conferences and now, like, with the podcast, my voice change has made me incredibly self-conscious. And that is something that bothers me a little bit, probably as much as my body does. How I look bothers me now. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think that it would, but knowing that this is kind of forever, I thought about it and I was like, my God, Ben has to be with a girl that talks like a robot. And
see, this is what your problem is. You can't do that.
I know.
You can't assume what I'm thinking.
I know.
I don't even recognize it anymore. The only people that are going to recognize it are that people that don't talk to you all the time. Yeah. Because it doesn't bother me. You just talk through it.
I know.
And then it goes away after 30 seconds.
It's such an odd...
So I don't know what the big deal is. Like, I don't think it's something to be self-conscious about. Because, I mean, the longer you have it...
It is. It's definitely...
Just embrace it.
I'm trying nothing wrong really with it. Hard to embrace it. I think it's just been with the whole being home thing. Yeah. Video conferences, phone calls. Anytime I feel like I have to yell because, you know, my voice is deeper, and now I'm like, I have to, like, get my voice up, and then all of a sudden I'm yelling at somebody because my voice has changed.
Who cares?
And it's like, oh, I can't, like, adjust up and down quick enough. I'm just like, I struggle with it. I don't know. It's just become a problem of mine that I'm trying to deal with now.
No, in that case, you just say, who cares? And just, like, you know, do what you gotta do. That's all it is.
I mean, it is nice having it. It feels like a reassurance when it goes off. It's like, okay, like, what we paid for, what I went through was worth something. It's doing something. I mean, I don't know what, but it's there. Mm-hmm. And it's in my body, and it's hopefully there forever. And hopefully it makes a difference, but I don't know. I just really have become self-conscious of that.
So if you have advice to give to someone, I mean, they don't have to have a disease or anything, just in general, about, like, say, like, people are dating and they're wondering if they should marry that person.
Marry your best friend. Yeah. I tell people this all the time.
The best friend that you're attracted to, not just your best friend, because you could not be attracted to your best friend.
Oh yeah, that's true. I have best friends that I'm not attracted to.
But also, don't have separate best friends. Like, if you're dating someone, don't have So if you're a guy and you're dating a girl, don't have a girl best friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and don't hang out with girl friends
Right.
early on in the relationship and not tell them about it.
When did I do that?
You and Dave went to a pancake house or something, and I found out about it like while you were.
A pancake house?
I don't know. You went to IHOP or Waffle House or somewhere. You went and got breakfast.
Oh
my
okay.
God, that wrecked
That
my-
was a long time ago.
That wrecked my day. I
Oh.
remember what I was doing. I was at Wawa.
But that's
with
different. I was
Laura.
with Dave, though. That was different.
But you didn't tell me about it. That's what wasn't different. And you knew I didn't like the girl. So I was
Well, that's
so
probably why I
not
didn't tell you
happy.
about it.
Yep.
That's another thing. Be honest.
Be
Like,
honest all the time. Be honest all the time. But no, as cliche as it sounds, I've always said, marry your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to know that you can have fun with that person. And not just, it's not a, okay,
It's not just sex.
I was just going to say that. See, we think alike. It's not just a sex thing. It's not just a personality thing.
Yeah, you gotta be able to have fun and enjoy each other's company.
It's everything in one package. And I
Yeah.
know that sounds like impossible to find. But for a lot of people, they've already found it and they don't know it.
Yeah.
Like, the advice I've given my nieces in the past couple years is just don't settle for some rando. Like, don't do that. You have to think about what's important to you, and you have to think about what you want from a relationship and realize whether that person is actually going to give it to you or not, because some people are great on the outside and everything seems okay, but then they've got this little like part of them that you're just like, yeah, that's like red flag.
Yeah.
Don't ignore the red flags. And for me, if someone does have something as severe wrong with them as I do, or goes through things, you need someone that can handle it, because not everyone can. There are not a lot of Ben Hamricks in this world. So that's, it's important to find someone who's willing to go through that with you.
No, Jeremy Camp was one of them. Jeremy Camp.
Yes, Jeremy Camp. That movie, I still believe, is incredible. I highly recommend it to anyone, because I bawled my eyes out. I mean,
And also, I'll tell you to find someone that, if you do have a disease or if you have things wrong with you, I would say, find someone who's just like willing to, be there for you.
yeah.
You can't expect them to do anything, because
Yes.
I think that's asking too much. Like, especially when you're first starting to date or something like that.
Yes.
But if you've been together for a while, like, you shouldn't expect anything, right?
Right.
Just let that person be willing to do whatever they want to do.
Yes, and if they want to walk away, you have to respect the fact. You can't hate them for it. You can't.
Well, you can, but it is what it is. You got to move on.
You can't think less of them,
Yeah.
because it is hard, and you put yourself in their shoes. Could you take
And maybe
care
that person's just not for you.
Yes.
You know?
Could you take care of someone else in that position? Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe
Right.
you couldn't. You don't know. And you don't know until you're in the position. That's something I've always said. You don't know anything about a decision, a choice, anything in your life unless you're in that position. You don't know what you would do. And I feel the same way about marriage. You don't know. You don't know what it's going to turn out to be like. Marriage is living with someone and dealing with them every single day.
Yeah, and
24 hours
also,
a day, but-
this goes on a lot. I've seen that people end relationships because they fight.
Yeah.
Or they
that's
fought
stupid.
about something and they go crazy about it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna fight. I think that's weird if you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're never gonna agree on everything. You're not, but you be the bigger person. And if you're wrong, admit that you're wrong. I don't have to do that a lot, but
He thinks he doesn't have to.
nah, but like, you know, you're gonna fight. Things are gonna happen. You're gonna have that one moment where you're gonna have this huge fight that you think it's gonna be the end and stuff like that. You know, just communication's key. You gotta talk about things. You gotta be open about how you really feel, and don't
listen to people. As we give advice, I'm saying don't listen to other people, but truly you can't.
Right.
Because your marriage is different than the next person's. Yeah. Because I've gotten horrible advice or horrible talks from other people comparing Ben to other people.
And you can't do that. You can't compare me to other people.
You can't compare anyone to anyone.
Right, yeah.
But also I'm like, no, that's not how it works, okay? For example, everyone in the world will tell you, don't have a shared bank account. Well, guess what?
For why?
I don't know. So many people had so many reasons.
I have no problem with it.
I got, like a rash of shit from everyone at work. What? No, never do that. Never do that. Never do that. Okay. Well, if he's going to run off with all of my money, congrats. He's not getting much.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, but it's also like, that's one of the little things where it's just like, okay, well, that didn't work for you, but it works for us. Because both of us can go check what bills got paid. Both of us can go look. Is there enough money? Both of us can go check. Did we pay for did the grocery money come out? Like, it's like random stuff like that. Like, and then it's also like, okay, don't look at the bank account for a week because I ordered you a present, please. That kind of thing. Like,
yeah, that's hard.
That is hard. That's the hardest part. But other than that, I love sharing a bank account with you.
Yeah.
It makes things easier, makes things cleaner. We have everything in order.
We can both see it.
We can both check it. And it's a matter of like...
And we're also not hiding anything.
Yes.
I think if you have your own account, like, you can hide stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and then that's just going to lead to something bad.
And that's another thing. You can't, like... I just, I got so much advice of, like, don't hide things and, but if you want to keep something hidden, just keep it to yourself, blah, blah. They don't need to know. No, they need to know everything.
Yeah.
Now, what someone doesn't know won't hurt them is not a true statement.
Right.
I hold on to things and then get so guilty I can't keep it to myself.
Yeah.
So you'll never have to worry about me hiding something because I can't unless it's a surprise party, in which case I do pretty good with that. But
so
other than that, yeah, you do. Other than that, I could never. It's just too hard. But it's like so many people will try and compare their marriage to yours and what they went through to what you're going through. And it's not. You can't look at, oh, well, my sister went through this with her ex-husband because of this. And he's acting the same way. No, they're not the same person. They're not doing the same thing. You have no idea. And anyone who lives outside of your home has no right to give any opinion on what's going on inside your home.
Right.
That is 100% fact.
Because, people are going to think that they know your spouse or, like, they know you. But only you two know the connection, the intimacy, the ins and outs of each other. For example, people will see me out there think I'm some... what do they call those guys? Meatheads.
Yeah.
Like a meathead, like, that's pissed off at the world, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, at home with my wife, I'm sitting there watching Disney vlogs and thinking about what I'm doing in Disney World. You know what I mean? So you really don't know.
And we don't, and that's the thing is, like, we don't have some of the same interests. We don't have all. You can watch a documentary on a murderer, and I would rather be sitting in my room watching New Girl or something or Disney Plus, because I have no desire to find out about a murderer and go to sleep and try and sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. We have different interests. It's harder for me to have different interests right now when I can't really go and do. But when I was at the karate school and stuff, jiu-jitsu and everything, that was my world. And until I can get back there, like, I don't really have my own little world other than TV. So, like, I'm trying, but I did get a scooter today. So,
There you go.
I'm be scooting without you. But, no, I don't know. I just think people do make assumptions about you. People make assumptions about me. People think that I let you boss me around and push me around and that you're possibly abusive and things like that. I've had that thought and put into my head, and
again, I think it's because of my look.
I think it's your look,
Mm-hmm.
and I think sometimes your demeanor is just a little bit like sometimes antisocial just because you're tired or whatever, but it's not really that. And I know that because I have the same resting bitch face when I'm tired.
Well, it's like that too. And then like I remember like in high school I was told that like I don't say anything unless I feel the need to say something.
Yes.
So I'm not just talking to hear my own voice.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm also not a person that says hi first.
Yes.
I don't know why. I'm just not that type of person. If you say hi to me, I'll be gladly to talk to you. Like I'll start a conversation with you. But I'm not gonna say hi to you first. I don't know why. It's
I
just
wish
weird.
you'd grow out of that one, because that one is a little bit annoying.
I don't know what it is, honestly.
And it's fine. I mean, I grew up in a house where if you didn't say something, you got yelled at. As soon as you walk in the door, you better be ready to have a conversation.
Yeah, that's annoying.
And that used to annoy
That's
the hell
probably
out of me.
why. I think that's how my
Yes.
family. Okay, that's probably why I'm like that.
Yes, because your
'Cause I think my
family
mom and
wasn't
dad-
like that.
right.
My family was. They're like,
We're like, we don't say nothing when we come in. We're Irish goodbye people. We just leave. Like,
yep.
your
my
family's like
is
hug
a
and kiss you on
hug
the lips
kiss,
and
goodbye.
stuff like that.
No kiss on the lips. Oh God, no. It's just a hug and a kiss, or
Yeah.
just a hug, or just a goodbye. But it's always a hello, goodbye, all that stuff. And that's
Yeah.
just how our family has always been because it's so big.
Right.
You guys don't have as many people to like hello and goodbye. I think I was the first person to start the hugging thing with your family.
Probably.
I started that. Because
Probably.
I remember I was like, well, I'm going to give him a hug because no one else does. That's why, Granddad hugs awkwardly now because
Yeah.
He knows that I want to hug him. I'm like,
Right.
And now he goes for the hug. He's like, bye. And I'm like, thank you. But, what was I saying about you? Oh, well, people just think that, like, you push me around and stuff like that. And they have no idea that the only thing your arms do is hug me. Or,
Or pick you up and take you somewhere.
pick me up, carry me, things like that. No one...
Nah, I mean the only way I push you is to be as best as you can.
yes.
And that's all I ever wanted to do. Like, do
And
what you
you're-
want to do that makes you happy, and also, to be a better person, to be a better you, because you always look back at the past, and I understand that. I like looking back at the past too, but I look back at the past because I want to see. I'm like, wow, I've come so far. Not just like physically, but like spiritually and mentally, and I love it. I love growing. I love progress, and I just push other people to do the same.
Yeah, and I look back and I look at a girl who was healthy and happy and could
were you
do
happy,
all
though?
of those things. I was happier.
Happier, right?
I was happier. And people ask me that, were you really happy? Yeah, actually I was. I was happier.
Yeah.
No, I never loved my body. I've always had body image issues.
Right.
But that was ingrained in me since I was young. But I don't know. I never really, I wasn't as unhappy as I am now. I didn't hate my body as much as I do now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just look at all the things that girl, the old me, was capable of and could do. And, I think about it. The biggest thing recently that like kind of clicked with me is we just paid off the car. I bought that car with my own money.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so excited. It was my first big girl purchase. And that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I only got to drive it for 3 years. For the
Yeah.
last 4, it's been someone else's car. My dad's and then yours. It just sucks.
It
like
does
I
suck,
look
'cause
at
I
that
don't like it.
and well, I'm sorry you're driving your little white girl with a Starbucks car.
Yeah.
However, you'll live. I just look at that. That's one of the big things that I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's been that long since I've been able to drive myself somewhere. Like that sucks. That really sucks. And I look at, I'm sorry, it's been 3 years. So I got 4 years out of it, almost. I think I stopped driving a little 4 years. Yeah, because it was 2017 when they took my license.
Okay.
So, but regardless, that's just one of those things that I'm like, so that's one of the little things of like looking back and like, I miss that girl. I miss her confidence, her strength, her abilities, and things like that. But would I trade the girl who was alone and unhappy for the girl who's not alone and has the best husband ever? No, I would not. Because you were my boyfriend, but I didn't think I was going to get to keep you. I really didn't. I swore I wasn't going to. I don't know how I did it. I roped you in.
Yeah, you did.
And I kept you. So, and hopefully I get to keep you forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Yep. Now here we are at this place. So we'll wrap it up there because that was a good ending.
You're welcome.
So thank you for coming on the Strong Tower podcast.
Anytime. I love being here.
Marriage edition.
I wish we would be in a different studio, but
Hey, it is what it is.
everyone take note. This is the best husband ever. And he's good at what he does, even when he doesn't believe it. That's something I do for you.
You be cocky for me?
Yeah.
Alright. Thank y'all for listening. We're out.
Deuces.
Peace.